iPhone 7 Plus versus LG G6. That's coming up right now. Let's go. What is up, guys? This is Nick here from Everything Tech, and welcome to the iPhone 7 Plus versus the LG G6. Now, the reason I'm doing this comparison video is because these devices are both premium devices. They're both very competitive. You might be deciding, should I get an iPhone 7 Plus? Should I get an LG G6? And some of you might just be watching this video because you just want to see how the latest and greatest stack up next to each other. Now, I know that the G6 is from 2017, and we're waiting for the iPhone update for the iPhone 8X, whatever they're going to call it here. And this one is kind of last year's iPhone, but still very competitive in terms of speed and internals. So let's begin with the boot up test of both of these devices while we talk a little bit about specifications. So the power button is on the rear of the LG G6, and we do have it on the right side of the iPhone 7 Plus. So let's begin this test in 3, 2, and 1. And you should see LG logo. I think that the iPhone 7 Plus will boot up first, but don't quote me because the LG G6 is a very powerful phone as well. This is the unlocked edition, no carrier bloatware. So you can see the LG Life's good, and life is definitely good. We do have a Snapdragon 821, 4 gigs of RAM, 3300 milliamp hour battery on the G6, Android 7.0, and the 7 Plus does win it there. On the 7 Plus, an A10 quad-core CPU, 3 gigabytes of RAM, iOS 10.3.1, and it also has a 12 megapixel dual camera on the back, 13 megapixel dual camera on the LG G6. So the LG G6 did win that boot up test, but let's go ahead and check out the software on both devices. I just want to confirm that I am running the latest and greatest on the iPhone 7 Plus here. You can see iOS 10.3.1 here for my iPhone 7 Plus. Cool stuff there. Let's go over here on the LG G6, over here to settings. And that's one thing that's nice about the iPhone is that you continue to get updates over and over again. And LG doesn't have the best track record when it comes to doing updates, but we should see what they do with the G6 this year. You can see Android Nougat right there, 7.0 to boot. But a lot of people will argue, well, I don't have a phone that long anyway that I don't really need updates for 5 years going forward. Most people will update with their carrier plans and stuff like that. So we will begin this comparison with an application test as we always do, and we're going to talk about other things besides just apps after we're done with this. But let's go ahead and close everything out here on the iPhone 7 Plus. And I do want to mention that because the iPhone 7 Plus has a physical capacitive button, it might be a little bit slower to come back to the home screen than the G6 because it's right on screen. It's very quick. So let's begin with the App Store and the Play Store in 3, 2, and 1. And you see the LG G6 did win that one. Let's come home here. Let's go into Instagram. And the LG G6 beats it there. No low battery power mode for the 7 Plus either. Let's go into Twitter. And you can see the LG G6 beats the 7 Plus there. So 3-0 to the G6. Coming home, let's go into eBay. And the LG G6 wins that one as well. Coming home, let's go into Amazon. And that looked like the 7 Plus. So 4-1. Let's go to YouTube. And that looked like the LG G6. 5-1 to the G6. Coming home, let's go into Wikipedia. The LG G6 coming home. Let's go into Play Newsstand. LG G6 won that one again. A little bit of a pop-up. I can go ahead and do that again just to show you guys. But the G6 is going to win that again. Watch. Let's go home. Go home. Let's go into Play Newsstand. And you see the LG G6 right there. And let's go into Lightroom. And you can see, I'm going to go not now here. iPhone 7 Plus would have won that one. Let's go into Appy Geek. And the iPhone 7 Plus. So you can see that the G6 does load quite a few applications faster than the 7 Plus right there on Uber as well. So this is one of the fastest Android phones I've ever seen, even though it has an 821 CPU. Gaming will be the boss here on the iPhone 7 Plus over the G6. The G6 is not the best gamer in the world here. You can see we're still waiting on the G6 while we're already doing something else on our iPhone 7 Plus. Coming home here, let's go into Temple Run. And you should see the 7 Plus is ready to go. So for gamers, the iPhone 7 Plus is your boy. Big screen, very fast. Let's go into Geekbench. And we'll run these in a second, but we're just going to look at how fast they open. The 7 Plus won that one. Speed test. and you've seen the 7 Plus. So I'd say in terms of app opening times, they're about even. The G6 opens some apps faster, the iPhone 7 Plus opens some apps faster, whereas the iPhone 7 Plus is a faster boot up. Settings, you've seen the LG G6, maybe about even there. Okay, so let's go through the applications to test the RAM management on both the iPhone 7 Plus as well as the LG G6. So let's begin with the App Store and the Play Store. You should see about dead even. Instagram, dead even. Twitter, dead even. eBay, dead even. Amazon, dead even. YouTube, dead even. Wikipedia, dead even. Play Newsstand, dead even. Lightroom, dead even. Appy Geek, LG G6, Uber, iPhone 7 Plus, Subway Surfers, iPhone 7 Plus, Temple Run, iPhone 7 Plus, so the LG G6 had to reload there. Geekbench, speed test, G6, settings, about the same. So you can see multitasking did very well there on the G6, one of the best RAM management phones I've ever seen in the land of Android. So the G6 is definitely a contender in terms of speed. But like I say, speed is not the only thing, but I just wanted to show you what it's like. Let's get on to our browser test now. So on the LG G6, you do get the Chrome browser installed. That's kind of a little inconsistent because G6 has a lot of LG skinned apps, but then they throw in the Chrome browser. Like Samsung, at least they throw in their own internet browser. It's not really a big deal, but I just think that LG should have put their own browser in there. If they wanted to get all, Google-fied there, they should have just went stock Android. But that's just my take on it. If you want to go on Safari here, and this is one of the main reasons why I continue to use the Apple iPhone 7 Plus over the G6 is because it does have, Safari. Safari is super smooth. It's my favorite browser on any smartphone, period. It's just super slick and super smooth, and I love using it for browsing the web. So let's hit go on both devices. And you can see iPhone 7 Plus wins there on that first test. Let's go to LG.com to be fair. Let's go to LG.com here. And wouldn't that be something if the Apple iPhone loads LG's own site faster? Let's hit go, go, and boom, the iPhone 7 Plus loads it faster, even though I tapped it accidentally first there on the LG G6. So Safari, definitely a better internet browser than Google Chrome in terms of this whole speed thing goes. Now, a lot of people might say, I don't really like Safari, it doesn't sync as well as Chrome. But if you use a Mac, if you use a iPad or iOS devices, it syncs just as well as if you're a Chrome user. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly run a Geekbench on both of these devices. I know people don't really care too much about these, but we're gonna do it anyway here. So A10 Fusion chip, and let's run it here for the LG G6. Geekbench for testing. Like I say, 4 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 821. It's last year's latest and greatest processor. I think it was featured in the Google Pixel and Pixel XL. And iPhone 7 Plus A10 Fusion chip. They're both clocked in at around 2.35 gigahertz. 3 gigs of RAM, but iOS doesn't need that much RAM. I will come back when both of these are done. Alright guys, so the final scores are in for the Apple iPhone 7 Plus. We have a 3525 on the single core and a 5972 on the multi-core score. Now those are beastly scores. That's pretty close to some MacBooks actually. And you can see right here the G6 is now finishing up on the score, 1864. So the G6 pretty much struggles to get out of the 1800s in single core based on my previous comparison videos as well. 4211 on the multi-core score here. So the G6 is not quite the best performer in terms of Geekbench scoring, but really, how much does Geekbench matter in the real world? We've seen that the G6 in that real world application test was right there with the 7 Plus, if not better in a lot of cases. Boots up slightly less, so performance day to day, the G6 might even feel faster if you turn the animations down. But let's go ahead and run a speed test on both of these devices to see which one is pulling in better Wi-Fi speeds. Now both have AC Wi-Fi. I found the iPhone 7 Plus to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest phones ever in terms of Wi-Fi speeds. Like, it just pulls in monster speeds. You can see right here 90 megabytes down, and I don't have the fastest Wi-Fi in the world, but if you did have a faster Wi-Fi, the iPhone 7 Plus would be a really beast in terms of Wi-Fi speed. So we're getting about 8 to 10 on the upload here for the iPhone 7 Plus. Let it do its download thing. It might be under 8, but I think the G6 also has one of the fastest Wi-Fi speeds ever, and we're gonna see here if it does better than the 7 Plus. Let's begin test here. and let that baby download. And no, it's not doing quite as good yet as the 7 Plus, coming in around 70, 71, 70, 69. So the 7 Plus looks like it's going to take it here on the download, but can it beat it on the upload? Looks like the G6 might take it on the upload here. So 11, 12, 12, 13 going on 13 here for the G6. Yes, so the G6 did win there on the upload. So in terms of Wi-Fi speeds, both rocking with AC, should be no problem there. Alright guys, so those speed tests are done. They're not the only reason why you should buy a 7 Plus or why you should buy an LG G6. Also, let's talk about cameras. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth because I'm going to do a full camera review versus these guys. I already did just a quick 4K sample test between the 7 Plus and the LG G6. You can check that out. It's now on the channel here. The iPhone 7 Plus 4K versus this guy 4K. Pretty close battle nonetheless. But cameras are both strong, so I don't think camera is a deciding factor here. So we're just going to not talk too much about camera. That's coming up soon. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see an in-depth camera review. But 12 megapixel here, 13 megapixel dual here. Both take amazing shots. One has a wide angle lens, one has a portrait lens and a zoom lens. So I honestly prefer the 7 Plus over this guy, but the G6 is very good if you want to get on manual settings on that. So if you're deciding to pick up the iPhone 7 Plus or the LG 6, you got to also talk about software updates. So the iPhone 7 Plus will be getting software updates a lot quicker than the LG G6, but I would expect the LG G6 to get the latest Android version at least for the next couple of years. So that's not really a big deal in my personal opinion. I think that most people will upgrade by the time that LG stops supporting the G6, but you know what? We still got to talk about that because you are going to get faster software updates for the iPhone 7 Plus, keeping it feeling fresh for maybe a little bit longer. But then some could argue iOS in general looks the same as it's looked for years, but you know what, I think it performs pretty well, so I don't think that's a big issue there, but we just have to mention that in this video. Now here's the big one, price. So in terms of price, you're going to drop $650 for a G6 as well as, you know, almost $1,000 for an iPhone 7 Plus depending on what size capacity you get it. Nobody really wants a 32 gig, and if you do, you'll probably run out of storage unless you're a very light user. But the cheapest iPhone 7 Plus is still over $800 with taxes, so I think the iPhone 7 Plus is a pricey phone, much pricier than the LG G6 to get about the same level of performance and build quality. So let's talk about that a little bit before we wrap this video up. You get an 18:9 aspect ratio display here, 2K, and you get a regular standard 5.5 inch screen. And the LG G6 is much thinner than the iPhone 7 Plus, as you can see right there. It literally fits inside the body of a 7 Plus. And the screen, although it's 2K, I actually found the 7 Plus's screen to be a little bit more enjoyable because I think it's better balanced and it's more color accurate. That's just my experience. Even though 2K, I actually found this more pleasing on the eyes than that display. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of price. You got to take that into account. The G6 is probably the better value here in terms of price. So which one should you buy? Should you buy the iPhone 7 Plus or should you buy the LG G6? So the LG G6 is definitely ahead of the 7 Plus in terms of hardware innovation. Some people might say it's ugly, it doesn't look the best, but hey, it's got an 18:9 aspect ratio display. It fits in one hand. The 7 Plus is a monster phone, and you'll really start to feel it day after day. Excuse the fingerprints. This is the jet black, so fingerprints are easy. Didn't know that all those were on there. I tried to wipe it down before the video, but you know what? 7 Plus is definitely a nice phone as well. Both are premium devices, but I do think that the iPhone 8 or the iPhone of this year is more closely competitive with the G6. But these are the two phones you can buy right now from Apple and LG, and that's why we made this comparison. My personal winner here, my SIM card is actually staying in the 7 Plus. I just like the app experience better than the G6. I like the software better, and I really enjoy the dual camera. I like the zoom more than I like the wide angle. But that's just my take on it. Which one would you choose? Drop that down below in the comment section of this video. It would be appreciated. If you like this video, click the like button for me, and I will catch you all in the next one. And remember, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, leave them in the comments. I do read as many comments and reply to as many as possible. Nick here, up in a master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.